Wow. What a game. Dallas is 5-1 for the first time since 2016. This has been one of the most interesting starts to a Cowboy season I've ever seen. On top of that, this game was hands down one of the worst performances of the year for the Cowboys, yet they still managed to win even when they shot themselves in the foot. And I'll get into everything momentarily. But this is a weird game. And it really tested the strength and the composure and the resiliency of this Dallas Cowboys team. And look what happened. The Cowboys were in a game where, okay, they went into halftime down 4 points. They come out. They're straight up doing their thing against the Patriots. The only outliers that they're not scoring. Then you go up 20-14. The Patriots go down the field, score a touchdown. You miss a field goal, and I forgot to add at the beginning of the game, Dallas went for it early in their own territory. You go for it, and then you have the missed field goal. The Patriots, they have the pick six, and then the 1 play 75-yard touchdown. Dak drives down the field, and we get a field goal, go into overtime, and we win after a stop. This was a wild game. I just summed it up, and we'll get into little details. This is going to be a bit more disorganized other than other recaps, mainly due to the fact that this game was wild. Okay. You look at the stat line. Dak Prescott was 36 for 51, 445, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He wasn't sacked at all, which was great. You then look at the rushing statistics. The Cowboys did rush for 100 yards. Zeke, 17 carries, 69 nice yards. And he had a 21-yard rush. And then you look at Tony Pollard, 10 carries for 41 yards. And Dak had a nice little scramble to set us up for one of the field goal opportunities. You look at the receiving yardage as I pull it down here. CeeDee Lamb coming out, 9 receptions, 149 yards, and that does include the game-winning touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. You look at the second guy, and that was Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz had some moments, and then Blake Jarwin also scored as well. You look at the defensive side of things. How did things go? Dallas had a pick 6. Trevon Diggs, ties the streak for most interceptions to start a season, or I believe it's either that or the most games in a row to start a season with an interception. Something of that. I'm sorry if I botched that. Trevon Diggs was your tackle leader. You look at the sack total. Randy Gregory had your 2 sacks on the day. And then Greg Zuerlein missed the only 1 kick this entire game. That's why you can't really rely on your kickers, man. We did let up a 100-yard rusher. That does suck, but I don't really care. Either way, the Cowboys did do their thing. We go into the team statistics. Dallas had 32 first downs in this game. Okay, they were 3 of 13 on 3rd down. They were 2 of 4 on 4th down. One of them was a crucial one on the final drive. Dallas had over 567 yards of total offense, and keep in mind, this game did go into overtime. The Cowboys had 11 drives, that compared to the Patriots' 13. Then you scroll down, and penalties. Dallas had over 100 yards in penalties, 115 to be exact on 12 of them. This was a very tough game, and then they were 2 of 5 in the red zone. This was one of the tougher games for Dallas. Though to start things out, to get the elephant out of the room, the refs were terrible. There were moments at the end where they were missing calls where the Cowboys benefited from, most definitely. But the thing that pissed me off the most is that they did not get a touchdown call correctly. Like, what I never really understood about it was that on the touchdown, it's 3rd down. They go for it looks like he's in, but they don't call it that. Like, for some reason, they just move the ball, even though you have the judge behind him, the official behind Dak, or in front of Dak, I guess. Um, he was right over him, and you could see that, so I don't know what the hell got in his head. But on top of that, if I recall, there was a timeout, and usually they can, normally if there's a timeout, they'll review it. They didn't even bother reviewing it. It's an exact copy of what happened in the Philadelphia game. So the NFL officials are terrible. There were ticky-tacky holding calls. There were just, oh my God, it was so bad. Some of them, yes, they were deserving, sure. I'm not trying to sit here and say that every penalty that Dallas had was undeserving, but there were moments where it's like, what the hell is going on? You know, I really didn't like what the refs did in this game, and it really irritated the hell out of me. That's what kind of irked me the most, was that every time the Cowboys had a 50-yard pass play, it was an absolute dot by Dak Prescott to Cedric Wilson. Call it back. And it's just like, what the hell, man? Like, this is ridiculous. So, to the NFL officiating, get your act together. Like, seriously, this is ridiculous. They've been terrible all year. And this game, most definitely. So, Dallas really had a lot to, overcome in this game. And I usually never point out the officials, but this was one of the cases. If you're going to get on the officials for this game, or rather, what I mean by that is, if you're going to say that, oh, don't use that as an excuse, I really think that you have to understand the circumstances of what happened in this game, and, when you watch it, I never mention it. So, getting back to a couple other things. So, at the end of the game on the touchdown pass, Dak strained his calf, apparently. He was in a boot. Well, according to him, he's fine, and I think he will be. He's saying that he's just doing it for the hell of it and stuff like that. I mean, if it was really that bad, he wouldn't really be walking on it. And I'm not trying to say that we should, be fully out of the woods yet, but it's something to keep an eye out on. But we're heading into the bye week on a great note, 5-1. The rest of the division lost, so Dallas is now 3.5 games ahead of Washington. This is a great time to be a Cowboys fan, and I'm going to get into this little soliloquy, if I may do so myself. So, to finish up with the game, Dallas overcame a lot to win this game, and it should be applauded. Mike McCarthy had some questionable decision-making. Some of the play calling was a bit like, what the hell are we doing? Why are we running it when it's not working? On top of that, why are we in a situation where we're going for it early, but then all of a sudden we want to kick a field goal, which we miss? Like, it was very all over the place, and that's kind of what irritated the hell out of me. So, there's that. Then the next question, and well, rather, going into this soliloquy, this has been one of the most interesting starts to a season by the Dallas Cowboys, and so far Dak Prescott is having the best statistically speaking, I should say, the best start to a season by a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. And the reason I mention that is because when you compare his 2021 campaign to this point to other Cowboys quarterbacks in seasons past, up to 6 games through the season, Dak Prescott is on a whole nother level. We look at Tony Romo, and really a lot of people point out his 2007 campaign and his 2014 campaign as the best seasons he's had as a Dallas Cowboy, record-wise and statistically speaking. When you start with Dak Prescott, okay, or actually let me start with Romo and we'll end with Dak so you can get a sense of how well he's playing. 2007, Tony Romo, a team that went, at that point in time, was 5-1. They won 5 straight, lost to New England. You have 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 1,707 yards, completing 59.5% of his passes. Fast forward to 2014, okay? Team is 5-1. They lost their first game of the year. Now they have won 5 straight, just beating Seattle. Tony Romo, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 1,510 yards, and completing 65.5% of his passes. Now, keep in mind, he did have the league's leading rusher with DeMarco Murray, and he was just demolishing the record book. So, of course, there really wasn't a need for Romo to throw the ball a whole lot. Then you go to 2021. Dak Prescott, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 1,813 yards, 73.9% of his passes are being completed. And the team has won 5 straight. If you add that all up, okay, and if you were to go, and as I pull it up here, if you take the pace he is on and you extend it over the next 11 games, as the Cowboys have 11 more games after their bye week, Dak is on pace for 45 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 5,136 yards on a 73.9 completion percentage. If that is to be the case, or something around that caliber, Dak Prescott would demolish every record that was set passing-wise in a single season by the Dallas Cowboys. He would shatter all of Romo's records. And that is what makes this unbelievably crazy, is the fact that Dak Prescott has so far had the best season by a Dallas Cowboys quarterback up until this point. No Cowboys quarterback has scored more touchdowns passing-wise than he has in a 6-game span. Dak Prescott tied Drew Brees for most 400-plus yard games with 3 touchdowns. Or something like that. I think that's what the stat said. I could be wrong. I don't have it right in front of me. I'm not trying to say this to diss Tony Romo, but Dak Prescott, so far, as of the moment, is on pace to be a much better quarterback than Tony Romo. It feels different. The team feels different. And I think that anybody that was hating on Dak up until this point, if this was the game where it made it click and the other weeks weren't really doing it for you, I think that you are too late to hop on the Dak train. I've seen a couple people that, there was a whole thread of people hating on, get on him and be like, oh, that's the guy I've rooted for. None of that crap. If you were not on this train when this thing started, I don't want to hear a peep from you, and you don't deserve to follow this journey that we are on. You cannot be doing... Now, I'm not saying that he's free of criticism, or he's, again, criticism free. Trust me, Dak had some bad throws in this game, okay? And, trying to thread the needle here and there, shouldn't have done that. Trust me, I'm aware of that he's not free of criticism. I think that's pretty obvious. But my problem is there are people that would say he's not playing playoff quarter, he's not playing these playoff teams. He hasn't. It's just annoying. So that's why I kind of firmly put my position out there, and I will extend, and I already said this, but I'll extend it here. It's too late to get on this train if you haven't been on it already. If you were not with him now, I don't want to see it. Especially if I saw you not rooting for Dak Prescott whatsoever. Okay? And a lot of you people that thought that Dak Prescott was going to be a terrible quarterback, he wasn't going to get the money, and he's not going to be worth it, you guys are looking like clowns right now, seriously. And I think that you owe Dak Prescott an apology. And on top of that, you should be lucky he's quarterbacking right now. And I really don't care what you have to say, because I understand that we can all be wrong. I'll admit it when I'm wrong. But there are moments where it's like, if you do it so much, and then even this season, with the play that Dak Prescott has had, you're now just all of a sudden hopping back on the... No, get the hell out of here. I don't want to see you celebrating anything if we do anything special. I'm not saying we're guaranteed to do that. So that's why, and I will quote, or not really quote, I'll just paraphrase what Vach said at the end of his stream. I called in. If you haven't, go check it out. So, over the past couple of decades, since we've last won the Super Bowl, we've had our fair share of gripe, annoyances, disheartening moments. You look at the 5-11 years, okay? You look at the mediocre quarterback play up until Tony Romo became the quarterback. You have the playoff misfortunes of the bobbled snap, the Cabo trip that, entailed, went along with that 2007 run that failed against the Giants, and, 2008 losing 44-6 to the Philadelphia Eagles to get into the playoffs and really have, going from 8-4 to 9-7. You have, the disappointment in Minnesota getting blown the hell out. You have the disappointment of, or rather, the travesty. First the 8-8 years with Jason Garrett. The travesty of the 2014 season ending with the Murray fumble, the missed field goal by Dan Bailey, and the Dez catch. That's now, later ruled a catch, which is terrible. And then you go into 2015, that terrible season. You have the 2016 year, Dak Prescott's rookie year. Us coming back, trying to fight and claw to win that divisional round game against the Packers and losing at the end. The frustrating years, getting blown out in LA in the playoffs. Then you go into 2019. And you look at this roster and you're saying to yourself, this could be the team that can do it. But that overhanging cloud of Jason Garrett and his just terrible culture and just coaching style, which led to that team going 8-8. Dak Prescott's injury in 2020. All of that gripe, all of the struggle, the emotional distress, those 25 years since 1996, all of that taking place. We need to understand that journey to where we're at now. And the reason I bring that up is because finally, the Dallas Cowboys have a team. When you look back through all of those teams, they have a quarterback that's playing at a MVP level consistently. They have a running game that is one of the best in the league. Their offensive line is playing stoutly. The defensive line's playing well. The linebacking core looks great. And finally, those cornerbacks were getting interceptions, turnovers, the safety play, and everything looks like it's going Dallas's way for the first time in a while. And knocking on wood, I understand that nothing is set in stone. I understand that everything can be ended by one game in the playoffs. But if there's anything that this team shows me, is that they have what the other teams didn't have before, and more specifically in the last 10 years. That's confidence, that's determination, that's cohesiveness, that is consistency. I understand that games are tough. You're not going to win every single one of them. But if there's one thing that this game set apart from the years past, is that the Dallas Cowboys did not fold when the going got tough. And that is why this team is legit. It's time that we look at this Cowboys team, whether you're a hater, you're a fan, any of that, and realize the Dallas Cowboys are a legit title contender this year. And the fact that when you look at their season, the only game they lost was on a last-second field goal, which could possibly not have happened due to an offensive pass interference that was not called, if it was called, would be 6-0 right now. And they're playing the best football I've ever seen. From offense, defense, special teams. That is why we must take each game one step at a time. I said on Vach's live stream that we need to enjoy this ride, because if this season ends how we would hope it ends, or just anything that shows us this team can have a foundation to build on to next year. And so we have promise, we have hope, knowing the team we constructed, is that we should cherish this ride. Because once it's over, this could be, it's something you wish you could relive. And that is why it's important we take this journey together as a family, as Cowboys fans, and enjoy it. So I understand this went on for a lot longer. I was going to give you guys this just in case this is my last video until the bye week is over and or other stuff comes out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's stay hoped up, guys. This is something, this is not the same old Cowboys. Let's enjoy it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this long video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, guys? Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.